специалиста Мартина Хинуля из Левенского университета. Вы знаете, что Левенский университет, партнер нашего Русского национального исследовательского технического университета, является одним из лидеров в области инноваций в мире. Это университет, в инфраструктуре которого задействованы порядка 80 тысяч человек, целый город. Весь город Левен, университет с более 7 тысяч сросшихся с ним предприятий, различных инновационных компаний. Одна из компаний, в которой я когда-то был, мне рассказывал как раз Мартин, моя студентка Анастасия, работает в компании IMEC. За 35 лет они построили огромный центр, где-то около 4000 человек сейчас работает. Это самый большой в мире центр по производству высокотехнологичной микроэлектроники. Номер один в мире. Это бывший спин-офф Левенского университета, он находится там же, рядом с университетским кампусом. И мы сейчас, здравствуйте. Я представлю наших гостей. Но сначала коротко расскажу, что университет построил уникальную модель, которая срастила исследования и инновации. То есть это модель, где исследования проверяются, опробируются в специальных технологических площадках внутри университета и выходят в качестве технологических спин-оффов, то есть некоторых отпрысков от университета, то есть, как бы мы сказали, малых инновационных предприятий. И в этом смысле Левенский опыт уникальный, то есть многие университеты мира пытаются добиться подобных систем, то есть подобных моделей, да, но не у всех они получаются. Поэтому здесь сейчас у нас присутствует господин Хинуль и его старинный друг Денис Ковалевич, который давно знаком с Мартином, поэтому я передаю ему слово для того, чтобы он представил нашего гостя. Прошу вас, Денис.
Да, друзья, добрый день. Наверное, а можно погасить свет чуть, чтобы было лучше видно? А то вы не рассмотрите там красивые слайды. Вот, отлично, спасибо. Да, добавить к тому, что было уже сказано, я хочу следующее. Вот Мартин — это один из людей с абсолютно уникальной биографией. Но не в смысле, что вот я предлагаю вам такую встречу с как бы в рамках клуба интересных людей, а в смысле того опыта, который он на себе аккумулировал за свою жизнь. Первое, значит, он, я думаю, старше всех ваших родителей. Он родился в 1939 году, ему сейчас 82 года, он продолжает писать, путешествовать, работать и отлично себя чувствует, слава Богу. Значит, это первое, что надо понимать про человека, которому он будет сейчас все это рассказывать. В этом смысле он видел на своей жизни очень большую историю. Он поменял за свою жизнь минимум 3 разных роли. Он был инженером и человеком, который в 70-х годах занимался созданием ключевых телекоммуникационных инженерных узлов. Он был одним из первых европейцев, которые работали с Китаем после открытия Китая в реформах Мао Цзэдуна. 2 года, в 1981-1982 году, он, собственно, провел между Китаем и Европой, и Китаем и Соединенными Штатами Америки, готовя там сделку по строительству крупнейшего телекоммуникационного завода на тот момент. Это первая была его такая позиция крупная, почти 20 лет отдал инженерии. Вторая его ипостась — это работа по привлечению бельгийских компаний, бывших бельгийских компаний на американский рынок, бельгийских высокотехнологических компаний на американский рынок и, наоборот, американских технологий, перенос американских технологий в Бельгию, в Северную Европу. Это с середины, с первой половины 80-х по конец 90-х, когда он был технологическим атташе Бельгии в том, что сейчас, месте, которое сейчас называется Силиконовая долина. В Лос-Анджелесе, в Сан-Франциско, какое-то количество лет в Вашингтоне, но все равно это все было связано в основном с технологиями. И, наконец, вот последний период, я его называю предпринимательский, это вот с конца 90-х годов, когда Мартин вернулся в родной для себя Левен, где он учился и где жил, вот как бы работал какое-то время. И, собственно, вот с 98-го года он является основным создателем того, что сейчас называется Левенским инновационным чудом. Чтобы вы представляли себе, что это такое, Мартин об этом подробно расскажет. Ну а Левенский университет, ну, вот у вас есть ваш университет, Левенский университет, вот он в 2 раза больше по численности студентов, ну, 2,5, может быть, это не суть важно. Но вот он зарабатывает около 300 миллионов евро в год на R&D, университет зарабатывает. Это больше, чем зарабатывают все университеты России на R&D. Это лучший в мире центр трансфера технологий. Это номер 1 инновационный университет Европы последние 4 года, обгоняющий в рейтингах Оксфорд, Кембридж, немецкие университеты, голландские университеты, французские университеты и так далее, и так далее. И вот это все случилось спустя 20 лет после начала вот этого проекта, которым Мартин занимался, и который, собственно, вот, о котором сегодня, модели которого сегодня он вам будет рассказывать. Так случайно получилось, что вот мы с ним решили, давно хотели съездить на Дальний Восток, мы вот несколько дней провели в Владивостоке на русском, в ДВФУ, обсуждали с вашими коллегами проект создания научно-исследовательского центра на острове Русский. И когда мы это планировали, я подумал, что, наверное, имеет смысл на обратной дороге заехать к моим друзьям в Иркутск. Здесь меня лично много что связывает, здесь много моих друзей и коллег, и по жизни, и по несчастью, всячески. И вот мы как бы сегодня утром прилетели, и я попросил Мартина, чтобы он сделал такую лекцию для вас. Поэтому давайте попробуем сделать так по таймингу, вот где-то час максимум. Around an hour speech, or a little less, as you will need it. И потом, там, сколько-то времени еще на вопросы, ну, чтобы не сильно утомить Мартина после длинных перелетов. Мартин, please.
Is this okay? Everything okay? Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Dimitri, for the introduction in this fantastic institute. Brand new to me because I never came to Irkutsk. Like Dennis said, probably we were on the way to Vladivostok and coming back to Moscow. We said, let's stop here. Nice place. Of course, I heard quite a bit about this fantastic lake which you have here, the Balkan Lake. And we will certainly visit that tomorrow and I think on Sunday. Let me tell you a story of Leuven, small town, 100,000 people, famous for the brewery. We built the best brewery in the world in 1346 or so, and we built the university in 1425. If you think that this is an old university, this is absolutely nothing. So we started very, very early, Middle Ages, and good university, a lot of good research, fantastic professors, fantastic students, etc. But at a given time, we said we like to make money if we do research. And I visited now already a couple of your spin-offs or IDs, and that's what we do every single day for years and years and years. And we became quite successful. We made a lot of money, and that gives us money to put in other research and do better and better and better. And the competition is phenomenal. If you go to Stanford or to Harvard or to Cambridge in UK, the competition is immense. So we are one of the players and one of the big players in the game. Let me start with a couple of slides from my dear friend Daniel Zeifman, one of the guys at Weizmann Institute in Tel Aviv. I like the man very much. First of all, he's a Belgian, moved to Tel Aviv and is driving now the Weizmann Institute for Life Sciences. Extremely good university. Science and technology, research and development, that sounds very well. And we do a lot of scientific research, as I said. And we put it in a reservoir. Curiosity. And in a lot of universities, there it stops. It's in the reservoir, and we have here a lot of good curiosities. It stops. No, we say, no, we say. We like to bring it to the industry, the reservoir. We empty the reservoir and bring it to the industry. And that's what we do. Valorization of that pot, of that reservoir. And of course, the industry has to go to the market. We cannot do that. We are a university. And we make products. The next, please, can I?
Yes.
No? Yeah, there, yes. So very simple. What is the business plan? Eh? How do you create new and valuable scientific knowledge? And that's what it is. And a lot of professors should understand this better. First of all, you hire excellent scientists, the best you can find. They should be knowledgeable, of course. They should be very, very clever. They should be very curious. And they should be passionate. That are the selection criteria. If they don't fulfill these criteria, we don't like them. So we test them out. Are they knowledgeable? Of course, they are good. They have good references. Are they curious? Not always. And are they passionate? Not always. We offer them top quality human and physical infrastructure. The best is not good enough. You need state-of-the-art laboratories and infrastructures and libraries, etc. Then, of course, you give them the opportunity to take risk. Let them fall on their face, no problem. Let them take risk. And four, you give them the freedom to think. Don't push that scientist. That's not good. Let him be free. Let him come with the most stupid ideas. Let him free. This is a little bit on the universities, and I like to go in a minute to third generation universities. You know, the university started in the 12th century, and it was pure academic. Nothing wrong with. And then you see a first transition period. We see it also in Leuven in the 16th century, a long time ago. We see for the first time that scientists and academics do something else. For example, Mercator, Belgian guy who started doing the mapping, not Google. Mercator makes the maps. We see Vesalius, who started doing anatomy. And they said, what is he doing, cutting in cadavers and writing a book on it? So these were a couple of examples in the 16th century where you see that the universities are changing from pure academic to not yet companies or so, but still more valorization of research. If you have the time, read a book of Wissema, professor in Utrecht, the Netherlands, who wrote a nice book on the third generation universities. And that's what you are in. You try to valorize knowledge, science. A lot of universities are not moving into that third generation universities. Here you see valorization of research, making money. We love money, believe it or not, in the 40s, beginning 40s. And we see it for the first time, of course, in California, in Stanford. Between 40 and 45, we see for the first time in history, that people like to make money with the knowledge. And there they are, my friends. To the left you see Fred Terman, the dean at Stanford University. And he called in young engineers in his office, like Hewlett and Packard. Became one of the biggest companies in the world, Hewlett Packard, HP. Probably you have a calculator or so from them. And he called Hewlett and Packard in his office. He said, guys, do something. You are brilliant guys, but I don't see anything. So they developed an oscillator. He got them $250. And they left and they started somewhere, what we call in the garage. And they developed an audio oscillator. And then they say, and now? Now we have a product and now we have no market. It was good that there was Los Angeles, Hollywood, and they needed audio oscillators for the film. Disney. Disney was making a famous film and he needed audio oscillators. And these guys made them. And they sold them, they didn't know the price, they had no idea what should we charge them. Nevertheless, that was the start. It became one of the biggest companies ever. Then you had two other kids running on the campus, Sig and Russ Varian. And I said, Sig and Russ, are you willing to stay here forever on that campus? Do something. So we gave them, I think, $100. And they made the magnetron. We have it all at home or in planes, in defense system. So they made the magnetron, which you have at home. This was the beginning of the beginning of the beginning of valorization of top knowledge. To the right, you see another guy, Vannevar Bush, and he was sitting in MIT. Was lucky that I could study at both of these universities, still the best thing I did in my life, that I could go to MIT and to Stanford. So there is Bush, and Bush is sitting at MIT, Boston, Cambridge, and the president calls him, Roosevelt. And Roosevelt called him, he said, we are in war, 1939, 45. What should America do after this war to take the lead? So he went back to his office in MIT and he wrote one of the best books ever written, Science, the Endless Frontier. Science, the Endless Frontier. Book is written in, well, I think, 44, 45, and he published it in 45. Unfortunately, the president passed away in April, I think, yeah. But good that President Truman took over. And one of the sentences is phenomenal good, and every president or director or rector should read this. A nation which depends upon others for its new basic scientific knowledge will be slow in its industrial progress and weak in its competitive position in the world. Wow. So if the country doesn't do enough science and technology, they will not compete on the global economic market. That's what it says. Wow. A lot of people, a lot of presidents, they still don't understand these sentences. I send it always to my ministers. If we have a new minister of economy in Belgium, I send them the little book. Please pay attention. If you are not good in it, you have a problem. Very remarkable that this Vannevar Bush put a figure on that. Hard to believe, 45. Because everybody said, that's fine, Mr. Professor Bush. And now, well, he said, to do this, you have to put in R&D 3% of your GDP, of your gross domestic product. 3%. That's a lot. That is a lot of money. Nobody understood this. Nobody understood it. They did some research, some did 0.5%. They even had not a figure. The United States was not knowing. We in Europe didn't know. So he comes out with that magic 3%. One of the most magic figures. And the United States start doing this from 1945. Still today. Still today they put in 3% in research and development. If you know that the GDP in the United States is roughly 18 trillion, then you can make the calculation yourself. So we in Europe, and you in Russia, didn't got a message. Didn't see the booklet. Didn't got a message. So we did a lot of good things, but we didn't understand that there was that figure 3. In Europe, believe it or not, in 2000, that is 55 years later, then we await. Similar for Russia. I shouldn't say it too loud, if not they kick me out. In 2000, our top ministers from the countries of Europe, they left for Portugal for a meeting in Lisbon. And they were in Lisbon and they said, we have to do those, these 3%. And we will do it in 2010. Give us 10 years. And then we have the lead in the world. In 2010, they went back to Lisbon, had probably a good glass of wine there, but we still were at 2.2. Too low. In 2020, they went back, and we were still at 2.2. So Europe has a problem. China, the other guys, and you know that country very well, with the people like President Xi Jinping, they said we have to go as fast as possible to go to the 3%. They're still not there. I think China is doing something like 2.2. Korea is doing good, South Korea. A couple of countries, Finland is doing well. Once again, the basics is that you need critical mass of good research and development. If not, you cannot win the game. I'll give you some remarks. You think that you live on a globe, that's not true. That was true for years. That's too slow. Innovation is too slow on that thing which moves every 24 hours. So I have to wait again 24 hours before. So for thousands of years, we were living on a globe where innovation was a very, very, very slow process. Don't forget that. But that's over. We live on a flat world. It is this man here, Thomas Friedman, who wrote that fantastic book, The World is Flat, in 2005. Friedman is a columnist from the New York Times. I was lucky to meet him a couple of times. And he tells you, we live on a flat world. We live on a flat world. We can be in any place at any time. This morning when I awake, I called Brussels. I was in Cambridge. I'm now in. So the space or the place is not important anymore. It's not only flat, it became digital. I see all these toys on your table. It's digital, our world. It's not analog anymore. And you can send digits beyond belief, from megas to gigas to teras to petas to exas to zetas to iotas, and it will continue forever, forever, forever. So you can send away the library of this institute in fractions of a second. Any information is at your fingertips. Can you imagine? Any information. The good thing is, of course, it's wireless. Years ago, we had these bloody telephone. You had to put them in the wall to do something. So you have a flat world, a digital world, a wireless world, and it's mobile. We are very, very mobile, very, very mobile, never seen before in history. So let me take a look to that flat world. There it is. And there is an institute, Scimago, and if you have the time, you can Google a little bit on Scimago index. Scimago is an initiative to put science and technology on that flat map. They checked on worldwide last year 6,459 research institutes. I'm pretty sure yours is in. They check every single thing in science, technology, blah, blah, blah. Yeah? They cover already more than 90% of the world knowledge. So everything is in their computers. Every single thing is in their computers. And they see now that this world where you are living on that flat world, forget the globe, $2 trillion we spend every year. $2 trillion. $2,000 billion we spend in R&D. That is immense. That is fabulous. Still growing. Every year this grows. So if you don't play, sorry, can I go back? So if you don't play the game, the gap becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's the message for your leaders, for Xi Jinping, for President Putin. If you don't play the game, you lose. You may be 100% sure that you lose the game. Good. So 3 trillion, remember that figure, 2 trillion, which is roughly 3% of world's GDP, which is today 78 trillion. I see that for Russia, they check 132 institutes. 132, so they have the majority. Here you see the first, sorry, that's my university. For the Belgians, I show here 27 institutes for a little country. We are very, very small. And you see that Catholic University of Leuven is number 1. Our friends from Ghent are 2. Then we have that famous institute IMEC, and I think the vice rector referred already to that. It's the biggest microelectronic institute in the world. So we are in the lead in our country. We're coming to knowledge-based economies. Yeah? Good, we know there's science, there is research, and so on and so on. I'm interested in the economy. If the economy is doing well, I'm doing well, we can give better education, we can better healthcare, we can do everything better. A knowledge-based economy means the ability to transform knowledge and ideas into new product, processes, and services. That's what I just saw in a room a little bit further. Your people are trying to transform their knowledge, which is in their heads, into new products. I saw several new products. Maybe interesting for the world, maybe not, but you have to do it, or processes or services. Now, if you think that these 2 trillion goes into that flat world, that's wrong. It is going to very distinct places in this world. It's not going into America or into Europe or into China. No, it's going into very distinct places, regions. And the first, of course, region is still Silicon Valley. It's still the best knowledge economy region in the world. And you see it in Harvard, and you see it in Cambridge, UK, and you see it all over the place. I did a lot of studies in that field, also with... no, forget it. So if you zoom in, then you see something like 50, 60 top-notch regions. And there you like to be, there you like to work, there you like to live, blah, blah, blah. I'm coming now to a concept, which I work very long on these ideas. So we are working towards a global, knowledge-driven economy with these regions. This definitely. Don't think that it is another world. That X starts in Canada. And there are 4, 5 regions. That's it. Important regions. Of course, there are a lot of smaller groups, also good, but then you move with that X into Europe. And in Europe, I see today, in US, you see roughly 15 of these regions, with Silicon Valley, of course, and in Texas, and in Colorado, you name it. Then this thing moves towards Europe, and you see in Europe, plus minus 15 of these regions. Then you move into Russia, and I see interesting things in St. Petersburg, and I see interesting things in Moscow, and I saw yesterday very interesting things in Vladivostok. And of course, if I'm looking to Irkutsk, are you coming into with the region, yes or no? That's the idea. You should work very, very, very hard to do it. And of course, then you go to a country called Israel, doing extremely well in innovation, with top universities, 4 universities who do miracles. We move into India, where I see 3, 4 of these regions. Not India. India is a complex country, huge. 4, 5 regions. The famous one is in Bangalore. We move into Singapore, top notch. We move into China, 3, 4, 5 regions, not 20. We see Taiwan doing extremely well in the Taipei area. We see South Korea doing extremely well in the Seoul area. And of course, we see in Japan 3 top-notch regions. That's it. That is where the knowledge is made and valorized in a most professional way. Besides the regions, we see a new phenomena since 10 years. It's not much older. Cities become interesting. And I like very much cities, not only regions. So famous becomes San Francisco. Also, as we mentioned, the Silicon Valley is south of San Francisco. But now the city in San Francisco becomes very much interested And you see a lot of entrepreneurs arriving there and making it. Boston, of course. Boston is a phenomenal place, and if I'm looking today from the point of biotech, they are absolute number one. I moved to New York, and New York, a city which I love, and I see it as a financial center, and I see it as a cultural center, and so on. No. These days it becomes more and more a knowledge economy-driven city. I counted in New York 100 incubators. And of course they have top-notch universities from Columbia, you name it, Cornell, you name it, you name it. You move into Europe, I see London. London was still the financial center number one in the world. And everybody said with the Brexit, if they go out of that, it will not be so good. Well, London is today a mecca of fintech, financial technology companies. Hundreds of companies. You move to Paris. Who thought that Paris would come in the game of a knowledge-driven economy city? Nobody. I didn't believe in it. You have to go and see now. They have one incubator, an old metro station, Station F, with 1,000 entrepreneurs. 1,000 new companies started there. Berlin, in the medical field. Moscow is certainly working very hard on that. Still not there, but working very hard on that. And then, of course, you move to Seoul, Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Hong Kong. So again, besides the 50, 60 knowledge economy regions, I see 10, 15 mega cities, knowledge-driven. And I'm following very close what you are doing at the other end of the country. That's the reason we were in Vladivostok. I see a possible interesting technology corridor, Vladivostok, Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, Hong Kong, Taipei, and in between Seoul, which is a unique region. And this time with a lot of people, of course. It's still not there, but it looks to me as a very, very promising region. So we showed you the figures. I can make you a color of it. There is the color. United States, West Coast, green, very good. East Coast, up to Chicago, very good. In between Austin, very good. And for the rest, stay away. Stay away. You cannot do anything or good for tourism, etc. Europe, relatively good. Spain is a little bit red, but good. Of course, with the tradition we have with these universities, it should be good. We have hundreds of top universities. And then you move to the east, and it's red, still not green enough. And that is where the action is. Come on. Another remark which I like to make is that if you look to the economy of today, it becomes disruptive. Disruptive companies challenge the norm and shake up their industry, leaving competitors struggling to catch up. And you know certainly the Uber, and I see them in the streets all over the place, a company having no car and are the biggest taxi company in the world. Airbnb, they have not one chamber, but they are the biggest hotel in the world. That is disruptivity. It's coming. You will see it more and more and more that a clever guy comes and he says, so you have to pay attention every single minute. There's that idea of consortia, which is new to me. For example, electrical cars. We know the concept. Yeah, of course, we know the concept. And believe it or not, Germany had most of the patents in electrical cars, didn't do anything with it. We can make an electrical car, ask Mr. Elon Musk. Now we have the data collection which we come now. We have huge data collection on board of these cars. We do the analytics, certainly when we will go for autonomous driving. The energy storage is priority. Now you still these bloody batteries in it. It's not interesting and you have to charge too long and it's too heavy. So we see tremendous effort in sorry, can you go back one? Sorry. So in the energy storage, We are working in Leuven on what we call a solid-state battery, but we are still not there. But it will come. Wireless data, of course, you send out, it's a wireless machine. And of course, the security becomes key important. If you take tomorrow, you go in your autonomous car, I think security becomes problem number one. Still a long way to go, but I see consortia. Before there were assembly plants, Ford Motors and Citroën and Peugeot and Lada, they made mechanic machines. Was it so complex? Now they become complex machines with electronics, with data, with you name it, you name it. So I see, for example, my friend from Tesla, but I see Intel inside with complex microprocessors. Intel acquired a lot of companies in the world to help them to come in the game of the autonomous car. Of course, Google is in with the mapping. They bought also companies in Israel, UC, Uber, etc. We talk about innovation, and that's what is going on in this institute every day, but innovation is changing. It is not what it was 10, 20 years ago. No, it's going faster and faster and faster. I told you every year we put more money in research and development, in innovation. So every day you have to pay attention, if not you lose your shirt. Faster, faster, faster. A wider collaboration of disciplines. We discussed it today. Things become multidisciplinary. Before you are good in physics or good in chemistry or good in mechanics, that game is over. Now you go to disciplines which you bring together to get the lead. And of course, it all comes out of the brain. So intellectual property is important. The patent. You need to protect what is in your brain. This is new. So also at my university, 20 years ago, a patent, come on, what is this? Wider collaboration between the regions. You cannot do it on your own. If you like to develop a region here, Irkutsk, you cannot do it on your own. So you need partners in this world, and you find them. And then you talk about open innovation. I know so much, but if I open the windows, I know much, much, much more. Another point is we are going to an entrepreneurial society. The old industry, that's over. That game is over. And these companies are big and they are good, let them be there. But the new generation, and like you are sitting here, this is another type of entrepreneur. A complete other type. Much better than in the old industry, who is too slow. I have two sons. They work for big companies. They don't like it. They are not mobile enough. And there is too much bureaucracy. Of course, we have to keep those companies, but please watch the new entrepreneurial society where you will live in, whether you like it or not. So the economy for the 21st century is simple, based on knowledge. It's finished with the conventional industry. Of course, let them be there. We need cars, we need a lot of things. Innovation and entrepreneurship are at the basis of this new economy. Further globalization. You cannot avoid that China and India are coming into the game, and Cambodia and Vietnam and you name it. Further digitalization. We are just at the beginning, believe me. Tomorrow we have all 5G and 6G. We have artificial intelligence, we have robotics. It's not, nobody will stop that. So you go to a global digital economy. Disruptive, pay attention that you have a nice business and suddenly somebody comes out of a corner with another idea. New forms of entrepreneurship. You are the generation who will come in with that kind of entrepreneurship. The game is over with the old entrepreneur. And of course, the clusters. I'm coming to my little town, Leuven. It's an old town, I think 12th century or so. And we built a university there in 1425. Those people had to go to Rome, to the Pope, to ask him whether we could build a university, and we got a permission. It's a small town with 100,000 people. We have 55,000 students sitting there. making noise every day. The city never sleeps. You see some history. The best thing we did was setting up the brewery, 1366, Stella Artois. Today the biggest brewery in the world, AB InBev. 1425 we set up the university. 16th century we had guys who tried to valorize already, 16th century. Then you see that 39 when there is that Friedman who said, hey, valorization, valorization. We set up an office to do that transfer in 1972. We were one of the first in Europe. Didn't work so well. And so on. Let me continue. So I came back to Leuven in 98. Shouldn't have done it. I was working in Washington and they asked Martin to come back. I shouldn't have done it, but I went back. So I'm sitting there in my office, clean desk. We were a couple of people, a secretary, and I said, let me make a brochure. I had a couple of euros and I made a brochure. And I took that weight, it's an antique weight, and I hang it in Europe, above Belgium. You see that little triangle? And I hang it above Leuven. And I said, Leuven will become the center of knowledge and technology in Europe. You must be crazy to say that, eh? A lot of people said, Martijn, this guy from America is nuts. So I'm trying to understand what is going on there. Of course, research, I knew that, and professors were teaching and they were good, going to the best conferences and writing the best publications in the world, bop, bop, bop. And I said, whom can I talk to here in this town? So I could talk to the professors and the scientists and so on. But where is the financial sector? Where is the industry? What about the government? There was absolutely nothing. There was no network. Can you imagine a city from the 12th century? And you had the scientists and you had a little bit of financial people, a little bit of industry. Nobody talked to each other. Wow. So I have a dear friend in Leuven who became a big venture capitalist, my dear friend Jos Peters, and Jos said, Martijn, go to Cambridge in the UK. I went there for 3 days and 3 nights, and I saw that Cambridge had the perfect network, the Cambridge network. So I copied that 100% in Leuven, and I brought in the banks, and I brought in the companies, and I brought in the financial people, and suddenly we had something which I call the Leuven Innovation Networking Circle. Now we could have a breakfast in the morning and sit there with a good technology guy and a financial man. Now we could talk and see progress. First time in history, can you imagine? We talk about 99, I think, we set it up. Yeah, 99. The mayor those days, I think he signed somewhere, Louis Tobac, a very conservative mayor, who said, this Martijn Henoel, this stupid American, what is he doing here? What is he doing in Leuven, my good old town? Huh? Today, I can show you hundreds of entrepreneurs who all made it. A unique collection of people, a network with phenomenal results. Of course, I can talk forever on all these names. We have even ladies in it, as you can see. I see a lot of ladies in this room. Still not enough, but it's coming. It's coming. To the left, upper left, north, Jan Le Ridon set up LMS, Leuven Measurement Systems. They make software for do simulation for the Airbus, for the Boeing, for the planes in Russia. He's in. And he sold LMS to Siemens for 740 million euro. He's a millionaire now, of course. Huh? There you see, the second is my friend Jos Peters, my best friend on earth. And Jos, a physicist like myself, said, I will start with venture capital. And he put some 100,000 on the bank. Today he's sitting on 700 million in VC. So, 1, 2, 3. The fifth guy, Jan Kallewaard, I met him on the first meetings, and he built a company in the telecom option, brought it to the stock market, became a multi-millionaire, but fell on his face. Then the thing went bankrupt. But he came back. He wrote a beautiful book, From Heaven to Hell. Why not? But he comes always back. And I can continue. The guy in the middle, left, Bart de Moor, the fat guy, I think he set up already 7 companies, successful. I can go on forever. Number 4 is a guy who left. Let me go to the last one here in the middle series. Friedman Kraan was at an expo in Dresden or so, and he saw something like a machine, and they did some laser work. He bought a machine, and he made the first 3D printing machine in Europe. And he set up the first 3D printing company in Europe. Today, one of the largest in the world, Nasdaq quoted, etc. The 4th guy, another student in that institute, Mechatronics, he said, let me try to print complex metals, niobium, titanium, you name it. Nice, with his friend. They could print now special metal, 3D printing. They were at a conference in the United States, and they came back very happy. I said, what's going on, guys? We sold the company. They sold it for 30 million. So now suddenly they are rich guys. But the company is still growing. So I can continue. Let me go to the last one, the lowest row, left guy, Professor de Klerk. De Klerk was interested in the phenomena of HIV, AIDS. So he built up an institute, Rega, very famous. And suddenly he had an interesting molecule. So we came to him, if I say we, the transfer office, we said, Professor de Klerk, you took a patent? He said, what's that? What is a patent? So we took a patent. Boy, was that. So we took our little suitcase and flew to California, to Gilead. And we sold the molecule. And we got royalties never seen before for that little town of Leuven. Hundreds of millions came in. The second guy is even more famous, Desiree Collin. He was working as a cardiovascular guy. And he looked to the molecule which we call TPA, tissue plasminogen activator. I always in your blood, because it prevents clotting of your blood. So I'm pretty sure some of you have not enough TPA in their blood. Statistically, I can say that. Don't worry. So he cloned the molecule. We took a patent, and we sold it to Genentech, also California. Also a success beyond belief. I can continue. This list is immense. So we built in 20 years a network of entrepreneurs coming out of top research in our university and having now products on the world market. While we have a lot of interesting figures on Leuven, we belong to a lot of organizations. But interesting is that since 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, we became the most innovative university in Europe. So you can do it. We were not aware that we were doing that. We are number 6, 7 on the world market with MIT, Harvard, and so on. So your the university changed completely of being a good university with good science and technology to an innovative university. And of course, our rector is very proud that he can say each year, I'm the most innovative university in Europe. Can you imagine? Those days that we were working, there is another professor who spins off, Professor Roger van Overstraten, and he set up a semiconductor technology research center. Semiconductor technology is close to my heart as a solid-state physicist. He started working in the field of transistors, microchips. He moved to sensors, he moved to healthcare, to energy, to equipment and materials. Today, As you can see, 5,000 researchers in that institute and a budget of 750 million. And they deal with the whole world. All these companies which are printed there are in Leuven. So if you take the center, the technology, Samsung is there with a group of people. Intel is there. TSMC is there. Toshiba is there. Who could believe that? That in that little town, 100,000 people, that we could set up a technology center, IMEC, Inter-University Microelectronics Center, where all these companies will come and learn from us and pay for it. That's pure contract research. We make a lot of patents. We make a lot of spin-offs. If you see the Samsung watch, it's not Samsung who made it. We made it in Leuven. We made all the sensors. So, looking to what I'm telling you, and talking in Silicon Valley with Professor Gibbons, Stanford, and Madame Saxenian from Berkeley, and myself, if we see a region, then we look to the ingredients. Are they okay, yes or no? So we look to the knowledge centers, and I visited already a little bit here. How good are your knowledge centers? If they are not good, the discussion is over. But mostly they are good. Second point is, do you have the entrepreneurs there? Or preferable a role model? Now you would say, well, we do not have entrepreneurs enough. Yes, I'm pretty sure that in this group there are entrepreneurs, but they don't know it. That's bad news. They don't know it. So we created a technology to make these guys and girls aware that they can become an entrepreneur. It's a very complex operation, but can be done. As soon as you do the business which we are in, you will see that sooner or later there is a role model. That's what you need. Suddenly you have a couple of success stories, and then it's booming. 3, you need money, money, money. Every form of money, starting with seed capital, venture capital, then you bring them to the capital market, to the stock exchange, not always, of course. You need the best infrastructure, I said that already. You need clusters, make clusters, not only companies, but clusters of companies. You need to attract international companies. They have to see you, and they come. Networks, I discussed that already. Networks are key, important, and please, all of you, start building your own network. Not only your mother and your brother and sister and your friend. Build slowly on it. That's what I did my whole life. When I was a student in Leuven and MIT and Stanford, I built on my network. It's key, important. Please. The government has an important role, absolutely. I don't like so much government, neither you, I think, but the government has played a key role. They have to come out with grants, they have to come out with infrastructures. It cannot be enough, but well controlled. No bureaucracy. And the quality of life should be good. It should be good living in such a region. And I'm here only for a couple of hours, but this is a nice location. And the lake is phenomenal. We go to see it tomorrow. I was in a fantastic restaurant for lunch. Wow. Quality of life is key important. If you have these ingredients, more or less, can you do it? Not sure. Now you need to mix those ingredients. I call it like making a soup. I call it the bouillabaisse soup. To make a bouillabaisse soup, and I do that at home, you need the ingredients. The ingredients, yes, that's a minimum condition, but you need a recipe. And in a lot of regions, they don't have the recipe. And they fail. Snapshot, how I'm doing in time, tell me, because. How much minutes can I go? Up to 5? Sorry, it's already 6.
Yeah, we can continue as you wish.
Let me do this, that I continue 10, 15 minutes, and then if there are questions to that. Yeah? Good? Snapshot of Leuven, once again, little town, 100,000 people, blah, blah. Knowledge centers, we have the University of Leuven, that Catholic university. Eh? We have a fantastic hospital, 2,000 beds with 2,000 researchers. We have that IMEC, that Microelectronic Institute. So I say, well, we have quite some knowledge centers. We do per year 1.2 billion in R&D, and we have 7,000 researchers. So I call that critical mass. If I look today, did we form that industry, that high-tech industry? Yes. 300 is not correct. We have 400 technology companies, and 150 is not correct. We have 200 spin-offs. So we spun off 200 companies. 20 years ago, we couldn't write the word spin-off or startup. Today we have 200. We form clusters, yes. We are good in life sciences. We are good in nanotechnology. We are good in mechatronics. And we go more and more into clean tech. We built very interesting technology platforms. We discussed it a couple of days in Vladivostok, and the platform is so unique. Yeah, you can be good in it, but the platform is... You see, for example, DSP, the Digital Signal Processor Valley. We brought everybody in the research groups and in the companies together in DSP Valley. Now you have power. Wow, now you have power. If you cannot make a solution for a little company, you talk to the other, you talk to the other. And also, we have small companies in digital switching, and they can do business with Siemens, the big Siemens. Because we come as a valley, as a technology platform. CD3 is one of the best things we did, Center for Drug Design Development, before we developed molecules. Then we took a patent, and then we went to the pharma industry, and these guys, I don't like them so much, but they are too big. Now we say, hey, take that molecule ourselves and bring it further in the value chain. And try to go as far as possible and go down to the pharma industry. Now they are coming to us every single day. So we have several in the food, in the mechanics, in everything we have technology platforms. And of course you have to build research parks. And I did quite a bit. I built, I don't know how many, 10,000s of square meters and in business parks. We built them in Haasrood and in Arenberg. And we built networks. We built at Leuven Inc., we built Leuven Mindgate, and so on. And then, very important, that we start the idea of scaling. Because you have companies now, how you go to scale. So one of the better ideas was to take a look from Leuven into the direction of Eindhoven, Netherlands, it's only 100 kilometers, and into the direction of Aachen. This is a unique triangle, ELAT, Eindhoven, Leuven, Aachen, and certainly no. This is the transfer office, the KU Leuven Research and Development. It's a bridge between research and industry. Set up in 72, didn't work. So 98, we started again with guys who understood a little bit knowledge transfer. Myself, I came from the United, I lived there 20 years. And other guys, because it's a little bit an American phenomenon. In 98, we started with making our engineers and scientists and professors aware. Make them aware that they can do it, damn it. Make them aware. So we had to drink a lot of beer with them to make them aware that they could do it. They didn't believe us. And they say, I'm willing to become a professor and write international publications and go to the best. We said, yeah, but you can become an entrepreneur. I said, so now you had to give him something extra, the incentive. What is the incentive, damn it, that guy becomes an entrepreneur? So we developed, I think, the best incentive system in Europe. So that the professor, the technology guy, is rewarded for what he's doing. It can be a spin-off, can be a patent, can be contract research. Money comes in, he can take better students, he can build better infrastructures, and he becomes more and more famous. We needed seed capital, because if you talk to that young entrepreneur, and I had a good idea, he said, I have no money. He has nothing. So he can go to his mother and borrow a little bit. We call it friends, fools, and family. But that's not the idea. So we put on the bank 25 million seed capital. It's very little, but we did miracles with 25 million. We needed a patent fund because that engineer, that entrepreneur doesn't know anything about patents, and he has certainly not the money to take a patent and entertain it. We were looking for strong individuals. Once again, our breakfast meetings were important, that we were sitting with interesting people and saying, this is the guy, this is the girl. It's a selection. Not everybody is a strong individual. We were looking for these entrepreneurs, and we were looking for role models, and we got them. So you see our position, you see the researchers, you see the business. We are hanging in between, independent. We are not willing to report into the rector. He's a nice man, but the rector doesn't understand these mechanisms, and that's not to understand it. We understand it. This is the system today. We started, of course, with 5, 6 people. Today we are 100. We see management is very flat. We don't like management. So we have, of course, an operational manager, and we have a guy, a CEO, but we don't put it on our card. We have people in the research collaboration. We do a lot of contract research, and there we have 27 people, smart people, looking for contracts with the industry in the whole world. We have probably 13, 14 brilliant IP guys, technology-wise clever, but also patent-wise clever. They go to the better schools. Spin-off, creating these new startups. We are probably 15 people who understand how we can make a business plan, a business model, etc. And then you see the financial division is very, very big because we handle a lot of money. Totally 100 people, multidisciplinary. Any expertise, we have it. This is the structure. You see on top the rector. Let him be there. Very nice guy. Don't bore him with our problems. Then you see the vice rectors, etc. Where are we working? We are working at the level of the research division. And we have 120 roughly research divisions. Can be one person, can be 5, can be 20, can be 50. So these are the guys for us. We work with roughly 60, 70 divisions. Some of them, they don't like us, they say, get out. No, they don't like us. So we are going into that very interesting matrix. You see the technology guys going in and trying to find good piece of technology. Once they say, we have something, they come back to our boardroom, we discuss a little bit, and maybe we send them back now with an IP guy, maybe with a legal guy, maybe with a financial guy. This is a unique matrix, and don't do it in a different way, it doesn't work. This is simple and good. So we do contract research, I'm not going into it. Again, we make them aware, we give them advice, we negotiate the contract, and prepare everything and make money. A couple of examples. I'm pretty sure if you go to an airport, you see the Samsonite case, we did it. Professor Verpoest, top technology guy, also in composite materials. I saw composite materials when I was walking there. Professor Verpoest talked to the boss of Samsonite. And he said, your suitcase is not good. It's too heavy. So he developed this. He did the design. He made the carbon fibers, etc., etc. If you see somewhere a case, we are in for a couple of dollars. Each time you see it, think about this. Hearing aids, we are very strong in that. We developed new types of apples. We developed a new rice, Uncle Ben, well known. You see the TPA, you see the Viriat. I can go on forever and ever and ever. That's what we did with our brilliant people and do contract research with the best companies in the world. If the money comes in, they have to pay off, of course. We will take 8.5%, we, the transfer office, because we have to pay our 100 people. We give 8.5% to the rector, he's very happy with that. And the rest goes to the division, and they can do with it whatever they like. Spin-off, we have to identify the technologies which are there. I told you, we are going in, and maybe we find a piece of interesting technology. That's what we do every single day, identifying pieces of interesting technology. If we have it, we do a market survey. Is there a market? Maybe we say no. And then, very important, we make a business model, not a business plan. That's too early. What can be the business model for that guy sitting and trying to do this and this and this? And we go continue. So we do the whole damn thing to make a startup. Spin-off, of course, that guy get shares. In the beginning, that researcher, that entrepreneur thought that he would get 100% of the shares. No. He gets average seen 25% of the shares, but we give him the opportunity to buy out shares. And in a lot of cases, after some years, they own the shares themselves, which is better for us. Can go on forever on this, LMS and layer-wise and materialize. We have today, let's say, in Leuven, 200 of these startups. All very interesting companies, and so on. I can go on forever. This is an interesting slide. If you see money, we discussed that. We, Leuven, put in some money, 12 million, it's nothing. We have that seed capital fund, we call it Gemma Frisius Fund, 25 million. But we raised 1 billion. So to find money was not anymore a problem because we had interesting propositions. So they are coming on their knees. Eh? Come on. IP, same story. We try to make them aware, blah, 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 blah. But the last line is crucial. We will find the industrial partner. That entrepreneur hasn't built up that big network. He's working very hard on the technology. Now he has something suddenly, and we take a patent, and then we go on the road, and mostly we will find an industrial partner for him. Very complex, very difficult. That's the reason I'm traveling my whole life. I'm sitting all over the world and try to talk to whatever. We take an average of 100 patents per year. We have a strong portfolio. Not only the patents, but the portfolio becomes important. If the money comes in from the patent, and the entrepreneur is waiting now, the first 5 million who comes in, he gets 40%. That's a lot of money. A young entrepreneur suddenly sitting with 2 million euro in his pocket. That's 150 million rubles. That's not bad. Between 5 and 25, they get 30% in their pocket. Their pocket, not the university. Between 25 and 50, 20%. And if it is more than 50 million coming in, he gets in 10%. And we have these guys who get 10% of that sum. So these are the good friends to go out to have a good lunch or so. CD3, it's not going in. We try to go as far as possible with the molecules we develop. We have a long list of molecules. We will bring them in preclinical if we can. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Then you see all these pharma guys on their knees at the door to say, hey, you have something new? Now we can charge them because we bring them up to phase 3 in some cases. We are practically a pharmaceutical company there. The money we make, I shouldn't show it, but in 2020 we did 300 million. That's a lot of money. The success factor, critical mass. Multidisciplinary teams, clear incentives, damn it. The entrepreneur should know what is in for him. Don't mislead him. We have to create, you have to create a favorable entrepreneurial climate. You have to feel, Okay, if I land in San Francisco and I take my car and I go on the 101 in the direction San Jose, Silicon Valley, I can feel it. I can feel it. That's important. Yeah, this is not important. Come. This is I think I'm going to stop. This is a very important slide for your ecosystem. You see in that upper circle my university and my hospital and IMEG and VIB. You see the transfer office, and via the network you go to the industry. Unique, because we didn't know how to do that. Via the science parks which we built, we make wealth in the region. We create tons of jobs. And via the little seed capital of only 25 million, we can talk to the whole financial world. This is a perfect ecosystem. We built parks, of course. Once again, when I came back to Leuven, I made a nice picture of the little town. Further you see Brussels with the Atomium. And then we built in the south a corridor of research park. Leuven Technology Corridor. Once again, the mayor said this, Martijn, he is absolutely nuts what he's willing to do. This is the part in Haasrode, a very big park with top-notch companies. This is the park Arenberg with 5 distinct clusters. We built bio-incubators. We built already 3. We are building at this very moment 4 and 5. These are the 3. We built clusters in microelectronics, in mechatronics, in feed food health, in life science. And we put that puzzle together. Now it becomes interesting if you push these pieces together. And I will close with this. If you take the situation in 2020, the number of companies, 400, 200 spin-off startups. We do 9 billion, that's a lot of money. And we created 16,000 jobs. Now, understand clearly, if you create one of these jobs, we call it a high added value job, you create 4.6 good indirect jobs. From the cleaner to the banker to the restaurant, the hotel, 4.6. So a lot of cases they say, Marta, you create only jobs for engineers. No. We create jobs for the whole community. So, the weight which I hang above Leuven and everybody laugh with it, today we can put on hundreds of companies in that thing. The lessons, and then I stop. Critical mass, entrepreneurial climate, legal framework, clear incentives, a professional interface set, seed capital. Spin-offs for us are the embryonic. Without that, we cannot do it. IP, very important, protect everything. Awareness, a supporting forum of everybody. We call it triple helix, the government, the industry, the academic world. And then, don't forget it, focus on focus. You don't focus, you focus on focus, come on. And then enthusiasm. If the guy is not enthusiastic, kick him out. Don't talk with these people. They are not worth it. Quality of life is important. I drink every night a good pint of beer and so on and so on. And the attractiveness of the region. I will stop here. Thank you for your attention.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let's start with the questions. We have approximately 40 minutes for the questions. And please raise the hands and formulate a question. Yes, please. Professor Trufanov is one of the veterans of our university. He is the head of the Center of the Network Research here at Irkutsk Technical University.
Dear Professor Hinold, thank you for the impressive talk. And I'd ask you on, so you gave us a positive experience of the Leuven University.
Yep.
But can you portray or can you give any negative one of any university in your country?
Yes,
So,
I can.
so and some details of this negative experience.
Yeah. Of course, we became quite successful. Thank you so much, successful. Don't believe that we have always success stories, we sometimes always. But this phenomena was watched very carefully in Belgium. And you traveled in Belgium, so you know. The Ghent University, well known to you, they said, boy, these guys in Leuven, what are they doing? So they started. Not so good. So we laughed. We said, these guys tried to copy us. Today they are extremely good. So they learned their lesson. Let me now be very clear. You need time. The time function is crucial, yeah? You need time. I discussed many times in Russia, your good country, with people to make this, that I tell them, you need 5 years to have some critical mass, you need another 5 years to have companies, and you need another 10 years to have some bigger companies. And the Russians are very nervous. They say, well, you think that we are going to wait 20 years? You wait 20 years, yeah. Another small university, and I'm not going to the name because it doesn't help us, they also started. And I told them from the very beginning, wrong what you are doing. So they started a small office next door of the rector. I have nothing against rectors, please. But reporting into the rector, no, stay away from the rector. So you make the cell independent. They never succeeded. Not only that they were sitting next to the rector, their vision was not good enough. So in Belgium, country with 11 million people, we have 2 universities doing extremely well. And the others are not doing. Some of them 0, and in between a little bit everything. I do not like what I'm going to say now. I don't like to say it, but I'm going to say it. and Dennis where is Dennis? There he is. Dennis knows very well what I'm going to say now. To do what we are doing, to have those guys with a recipe, yeah, who can do it, who have that vision, I think 1 in a million can do it. 1 in a million.
So 11 people in Belgium
can do it. Of course, you can do a lot of things. Dennis knows very well the chief in Leuven, Koen de Bakker. It's a genius. Dennis, say yes or no? He is a man with a phenomenal vision. Now you will say, copy the vision. We are humans. We think that we know better. I'm convinced, and all what I saw, there are not too many people. You can have all these ingredients, you remember? Then you have to make the soup. Now your chef, your recipe should be good. Vision, vision, vision. Koen de Bakker is one of my dearest friends in the world. The guy is clever, that's 1. Brilliant. 2, he works like a fool. 12 hours a day is nothing, 6.5 days in a week. And integer. You need an enormous integrity. You cannot say this. So, does that say that the others are not good? No, I'm not saying that. But some of them are willing to play in the Champions League, like in the football. That's what we did. Are these other guys not okay? Well, no, they are doing well. But we try to be in that Champions League, and we see a lot of people trying to do it. Remember the beginning of my course that I said, I see only 50, 60 top regions. The others are okay too, come on. So if I say that in America I see 15 top-notch regions, whoa, but there are at least 20, 30 other good ones, but not Champions League. We like to play in the Champions League. A country in Russia, I watch it very, very carefully, came in late in the game. They came in late in the game. In 2010 or so, yeah. Mr. Victor Vekselberg came to see me in Leuven. you know Victor Vekselberg, the guy who started Skulkevo. And I was watching what they were going to do. A little bit too nervous. We are willing to do many things together. They took 5 disciplines, nuclear, space, IT. They brought in a lot of people not knowing the business. It takes time, it takes time, it takes time. So the good examples, so if you are willing to do it in this region, which is a fantastic region, you need a good model. Can you copy this model? No, you cannot copy it, but you can customize it towards your needs. And that's key important. Copying, forget it, forget it, forget it, forget it. Everybody runs to that Silicon Valley. The ministers, also your ministers, they went to Silicon Valley and they talked to Steve Jobs from Apple. And then they come back and they said, wow, that was fun, huh? Maybe I have a slide on that. Well, this is the quality of life, eh? Beer. Can you take... No, it's another presentation. Can you go back on the list? No. Yeah, yeah. Let's take a look. There it is, I think. Yeah, this is a slide which I'd like to show to you. Oh. No, go further. Put them in a matrix if you can.
Okay. Oh, no.
There, that one.
Okay.
Here you see what I mean. If I'm talking about Silicon Valley, I'm not interested in the blah, blah, blah in California. Watch the culture. That's what it is. You need the right culture. And the culture is the all things are possible attitude. Good idea? Try it, damn it. Risk-taking, of course it's important. Not everywhere people are willing to take risk. You need serial entrepreneurs, guys who did it and do it again and again. State of mind, it's here. Eh? There it is, nowhere else. If you don't have the state of mind, the networking, I explained that, you need the networking. So these regions or these universities should have the right culture. Maybe that's the right answer for you. You need the right culture, more or less. Okay.
Thank you. Questions, please. Yes, please.
Is that 3% of GDP is invested in research and development?
Worldwide.
What percentage is invested in education?
I think that's similar. I don't have the figure. But of course, if your educational system is not okay, forget the rest. Eh? So, what I try to understand from you is, education is the priority, the absolute priority. But if you do the things well, which we are doing, you have more money, you can have better education. The education cannot be good enough. So for me, that's key important. Believe it or not, I have 2 sons, I have some grandkids. For us, education is the most important point. And then we will go for entrepreneurship and all that kind of thing. And of course, not everybody has to become millionaire, etc. I'm not working for myself. I work for the society to create jobs that your local economy, I'm not interested in the economy of Belgium, but I'm interested, but your regional economy should be healthy. And you should measure the growth each year. If you see now the world figures, the economic growth after the COVID is worldwide 4-5%. I'm not interested. That's okay. But in your region here, what is your economic growth? I give you a figure which is interesting, I think. In Leuven, or better in that triangle, Eindhoven, Leuven, Aachen, 1 out of every 5 jobs is a high added value job. So that brings good salaries, good economic growth. Now we are pushing that figure. More R&D, and we try to go to 1 out of 4 is a good job, high added value job. That is an extra growth of 2% of your economy. Extra growth of 2%.
Martin, I found a figure. In Russia,
Yeah.
3.4% of GDP is going to education.
Okay, that's what I thought.
To education.
Okay.
From which 2.4 in official way and 1 in informal things like not universities, not schools, but I mean trainings, coachings, accelerators. So in OECD average, 4.8. In United Kingdom, 6.1.
Yeah. Okay, you take again the better example. UK is in education top of the line. See Oxford, Cambridge, Imperial College, their colleges, everybody likes to study there.
More than 6% of GDP.
Yeah, fine. Better put it in R&D than in defense. But you are right. What is the figure you put in education? Because if your education is good, the other things are good. So for me, it's key priority.
One question. You said that before 1990,
Sorry?
the university wasn't so successful, and you came and it became more successful, very successful.
Yeah.
So where did you get the stuff? Had it lived in that town, or you attracted it from somewhere else?
It's a good question. I came back to Leuven 20 years ago. And I left a fantastic, good position in Washington, D.C. I had a nice job and so on and so on. You can stop it now. The thing is that I started in that LRD office that was there for 10 years. And 3 months later I said, my Lord, I made the wrong decision. I shouldn't have come back. So I went to the boss and I said, I resign. I'm not going to do this here. He said, what's the problem? I said, I'm not willing to work in such a stupid thing. And I had tickets, I had to go to New York. I said, here are the tickets. I'm not going anymore. It's over, the game is over. He said, please go to New York and enjoy New York and come back in 3 days, which I did. Then he said, Martin, listen, go in that and that institute, go in that and that room, and that will be the new boss. So I went into that office and there is that young professor there on his computer and we talked, not long, minutes. I said, this is the guy who can run it. So I went back to the boss and I said, I stay. Also an experienced guy, also MIT guy, knowing a little bit the American mentality. And now we fired, of course, these lousy guys. Good that we did it. And then we picked, like cherries, the guys we needed. Once again, if you see the structure of Leuven R&D, the 4, we took, for example, in patents, the guy Ivo Roelands, a miracle. This man reads a patent like you look through a window glass. So we said, Ivo, come on, you are in charge here. And he selected over the years, 20 years now, a team of 12, 15 brilliant people And not sometimes, mostly we upgrade these people, letting them go to special courses. So it doesn't happen like that, but to be honest with you, the Anglo-Saxon element is an important thing. Europe and you in Russia and so on, we are not the real entrepreneurs. Why the hell? Because we have these big companies, and we like to go to the company, we like to go to the government, these are not. So it should be a good mix, but you build on that office for years, but you need the 4 or 5 people who understand the business. In our case, Koen de Bakker with the brilliant vision. The vision should be like, if you have a guy running like this, stop the thing. It's over, the game is over. They are there, once again, you find them. And in the successful guys, regions, you meet them, I know them. Heidelberg is a good example. Wow, if you see that man, that's beyond belief. PhD in biochemistry. And if you meet him, I met him in Wageningen 10, 15 years ago. We had a meeting there with the guys from Cambridge and the guy from Heidelberg. They are super professionals. Once again, you cannot copy, you cannot clone these guys. Still not there. Maybe later on that we can clone them. So you have to look very carefully. And if the guy or the girl is not good, fire them. Because in my case, when suppose I would have said, it's okay here, it's a nice salary, I'm very happy here. I said, I retire, I get out, I resign. So they said, what's the problem? I said, I'm not going to work with this couple of people. I'm not going to work with it. So it's good that we stopped it. Next.
Martin, thank you very much for your great lecture and visiting us. You've told about awareness and about quality of life for researchers, and I just want to ask you, could you give us some examples of infrastructure projects in your city which was important for researchers to move to your city?
Yeah. So you mean research park, accelerators, that kind of thing, incubators?
Yeah.
No, yeah. Like I have shown, from the very beginning, we defined the technology corridor south of Leuven. Our university is an old university, so we have a lot of locations with research and development and so on, and we built some research institute for physics and chemistry and so on and so on. But now, once you are doing what we are doing, what you need now is research parks, incubators, accelerators, and you name it. Once again there, if your vision is not okay, you run into problems. So we started south of Leuven, in the eastern part. We built a park of 136 hectares. And when we made our companies, we gave them the possibility to go there. Not too expensive, because if you make it too expensive, these guys cannot make it. We gave them opportunity to take some land, not too long, because you cannot keep the land forever. So we built in that park 136 hectares. We brought in 50, 60 spin-off startups, some of them very good. And we attracted a lot of companies, because that's what you like to do. You cannot continue to do it on your own. Once you get visibility, I'll give you an example. On that park, we brought in NXP, the biggest chip design company in the world. They have a road, I call it always the NXP road. Buildings and buildings and buildings with top people in the field. So we built Haasrode, it's a full house. You have to control that park, and it's clean and no criminality and so on and so on. Very important. Because that is your PR. If we get visitors, we bring them to Haasrode, and I'm driving around and say, this is this company, this is that company. And then we started in the middle, the center, Arenberg. Very complex thing. We had only 13 hectares. It's not much. So we made a competition. So people came with their ideas and they had to present it to a group of independent people with architects and financial people. So you have to pay attention that you have a good project. So they presented with beautiful modules in the beautiful halls of the university. And then we had a jury and they said, this is the group who can do it. And then they get the power to build that park. We defined 5 clusters. 5. We defined the first cluster. Because nobody else can tell you what is priority. So the first cluster was IT, information technology. So we start building. Important is then that you find a first good customer. So we had a nice company, and I tried to get them there to get visibility, and then the rest grows. Then we had cluster 3 or 4. We defined that for biotechnology. Didn't work. But let me put it out. The land was there. Nothing happened. So then on a given morning, I'm coming in, I said, damn it, we are going to build the first bio-incubator. Oh, come on. Do we have enough companies? I said, we will build the first bio-incubator, which we did. Nice building, 5,000–6,000 square meters. Don't remember the price, 7, 8, 9 million. There is the building. Completely wrong plan. Stupid plan. But there it is. There it is. Even difficult to find a customer, but we found one of our companies who was more than. So we made a lot of mistakes in the construction of that building. We didn't know what was biotech, because you have exhaust systems and animalians where you put your animals and all that kind of thing. So the number 2 we made already a lot better, but still not okay. The 3 was again better, but still not okay. Now we are building, now at this very moment, 4 and 5 will be ready in a couple of months. Last week we had a big reception. So you learn in the definition of your plan, and you learn the construction of these buildings. And you learn from your customers. If you don't listen to the customer, you make all the mistakes in the world.
Mark, how many in general now technoparks around Leuven?
Sorry?
How many technoparks in general around Leuven now? 7 or 8?
Oh, there are so many. For us, the most important is the Haasel, and of course the big one, the Arenberg, Termunk. We are building now north of Leuven. And
so
then
it's millions of square meters.
Oh, millions, yeah.
Millions?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. The university itself is, they have in offices and blah, 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 1.3 million square meters. 1.3 million square meters. But we tried out everything in building parks. At a given day, there is a big constructor, he comes to me, he says, there is on that park a bank, an old bank, a rubbish bank. I like to buy that piece of land. I said, okay, the stupid building is there if you buy. So he cleaned it up. He said, Martin, I built here on the campus, a campus, the Green Hill, maybe you were certainly there. The Green Hill at the Haasrode, 25,000 square meters. That's a lot. He said, I do the building, you have not to pay anything, you give me the companies. So when it opened, we had the companies ready. That's always the problem. If you build, it costs money, the square meters are expensive. Who is paying? Once again, we don't take money from the government for that. We are not interested in the government there. Government is in other positions. So, for the bio-incubators, for example, we have a series of companies and banks who are in the board, and they come in with money. Typical bio-incubator costs 10 million, 10, 11 million. We come in, we as LRD, because we have quite some money on the bank. We have one of the banks is in, and we have a couple of companies in the board, money. And we have a rich entrepreneur in the board. Desiree Collin is in the board, so he has a lot of money. and we give them chairs. These guys are not directly interested in the return on investment in the building. Normal real estate, they are not in a rush. So from the point of building that, so the return on investment is not fantastic. But the people who are in are not nervous there. And it's a good investment in the long range anyway.
Yes, please.
My name is Irina, and I'm a student of social technology supporting the.
Can you come a little closer because you're far away? Yeah.
My question is, you speak a lot about networking and its importance.
Yeah.
Can you give some examples? How do you use it personally and for university purpose? Thank you.
One of the best networks is sitting there in that corner. Huh? You built it up systematically. You don't have a big network in the very beginning. But you have to talk to people. Huh? When I was living in the United States as a diplomat, looking into opportunities for my country, there I learned a lot of business, I met an older diplomat the first days that I was in Los Angeles. And the lady said, Martin, you need every day a new contact. Did you hear me? Every day. I said, she's crazy, eh? So I met her 14 years later. I left, I said, Renilde, how are you? And so I said, Renilde, I have to tell you something. You said to me, one contact per day. I said, believe it or not, I set up 5,000 contacts. That's one a day. Of course, I exaggerate now, eh? But in your work, at least you know the people in your work. That's fine. Publications, whatever. You know the people. I'm pretty sure. But you do not need only scientists and technologies and professors. You have to talk to the banks, the financial world. You have to talk to the business world. You have to talk. That's the importance. And I wrote a book on it. It's in Flemish, so you cannot read it. Networking is working. Is working. Networking is working. I spent, after all the years, 10% of my time in networking. 10%. Dennis, what do you think? More, I think.
Sometimes more.
So there's a minimum condition. You can say it's all fine network, but it doesn't come to you. You have to go to the network.
As bigger network, your network is becoming, as less you put time on it.
And then you get very interesting things. Can I write on the blackboard here? No. So if you build up your network, that's fine. I can talk to you later on, but I'm not going to do it. We have no time. If you tell me about your network, I know who you are. Yeah? I know who you are. Once I talk with people and they talk about it, I can find out what it. So what I did is this. This is the sickness all over the world, right?
Yeah, this is
all over the world.
Environmentally friendly. Friedman.
Is there an entrepreneur who can make better tools like this?
No.
Numbers? So if you take your network, and I have a good secretary who puts it up, if I go away and I get a card, a business card, yeah, I give it a 0 to 10. Don't be afraid of me. Huh? Right. I'm not going to show it. But you put on that card between 0 and 10. If it is a lousy card, you put a 0. Right? So if it is a top, it's a 10. Okay. There we go. Oh.
You should press on it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you get a Gaussian distribution. No discussion. Can be flat or whatever. So now I'm coming. This is the quality of your contact. This is between 2 sigma and 3 sigma. 2% of the contacts are top. Don't expect that you have always good contacts, come on. Eh? 2% is lousy. Name droppers. Keep them away from you. Because they damage you. They say, I know you, and you, I don't need that reputation. So this, forget it. These are your normal contacts, yeah? But to work, what I do, you need this bloody 2%. 2% on 5,000 is 100 top-notch contacts. And that's it. In my case, of course, I exaggerate with the numbers. But important is that you keep this 100, that you live with them. Believe it or not, with Christmas or New Year, I write 100 letters by hand. Don't send me an email with New Year. I'm not interested. I delete. Huh? If this is it, best, dear Martin, and best wishes for the year, come on, go to hell. Huh? But if I get a letter or a card on my table, it lays there. I say, oh yeah. If I have a problem or whatever, I can call in these 100 and I find a solution. Because the network should help you in your work. You build it up slowly. It's a lot of work, and those people are the most important what you have. You can only do so much. The rest comes from your network. So you protect your network and you keep it alive and kicking. A lot of people don't find the time to thank you, don't find the time to refer to. Cannot do anything with them. But it's hard work. It's very, very hard work. And a lot of people think the network will it comes automatically. No, it doesn't come. Network is work. So my book is working. You have to work on it. And once again, if you have a good network, you protect it. You don't say anything wrong about these people because you lose confidence. The confidence should be top all the time. So you build up your credit yourself. That they say, well, yeah, she's good. You don't need to say, oh, this guy, come on. Eh? So you will have to work, and a lot of you are still young, work on it, work on it, work on it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Jerry, I think we have one final question.
Yeah, I have a final question. It is also about networking.
Hola.
You have told that everything has started with copying the system of networking from Cambridge. And I wanted to ask you, what exactly did you copy and how did you perform it at your university? So just to understand, what shall we start with here at our university?
Yeah. So I'm coming back from the United States. I'm sitting in Leuven. I'm not so happy because of the situation. And my dear friend Jos Peter said, Martin, go to Cambridge and see, because that's a nice place. Don't talk always about these bloody Americans. Go to Cambridge, UK. So there I am. They picked me up in a Rolls Royce in the city of London. Fantastic man. I'm still friend with him. Alan Darrell. Phenomenal. So we had 3 days. And he showed me Cambridge in and out. Wow, network. But interesting was the second evening, there was a party going on in a small company. They built a tent, and I'm coming in. Whoa! I met Cambridge. I met the best entrepreneur. I met the best venture capitalist. I met the phenomenal rector, Sir Alec Bruce. In the meantime, he's Lord. Eh? I said, what is this? I met in one evening the top notch of Cambridge. So I said to Alan, my friend, I said, what was that? Why is that this Cambridge network? Can we see Cambridge network? Of course. It was added by a lady. So she explained me Cambridge network is a structure with brilliant people. I think the board is, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 people. And they follow strict rules built up by Ernst & Young. Statute, and I don't know how the statutes. Huh? So it's very strict, very strict. Of course, the most important is the networking. So they bring what they say, now their words, like-minded people together. That's what you like to see. You don't like rubbish. I have no time for that. Like-minded people together. And the more they sit together, the more like-minded they become. So the best thing they do is the cafe. Like I said, in that facility with the tent, that's each, I don't know, a couple of weeks, there they come. So they said, you can copy us. We give you the statuten from Ernst & Young. So we brought in Leuven 10 people together, that's the board, and we started Leuven Network. I would say an exact copy of Cambridge. People represented from the academy, people from the industry, people from the financial world, and government. Nice group of people. The best thing we do is the cafe. So we go to a company or whatever it is, and we let that CEO talk for 15, 20 minutes. Let her give a nice talk about the company, the product, the da-da-da, and then beer. Very important that there is a message from that company, and next month is another company, and next month is another company. But the important is that you have done a nice, and you learn a lot. Don't stay always in that same environment of your academy. Nothing wrong with, please, come on, eh? But all the others are important in the game which we play. Later on, much later on, we started building an international network, because I was fighting for that. This is still a local network, it's good, but you need then an international network. And we built that up since 3, 4 years. Doesn't work so good. And I think we have to do something with the management, and we will do that, because that international dimension will give you an extra flight. I will do it myself, but you need it in your community. You need in your community not only a good regional network, but the extra dimension. But you have strict rules in the game. And check the Cambridge phenomena, the Cambridge network. I think it's one of the better networks in Europe. And we are very proud that we copied it with their permission. We are very good friends. We talk every month, every week. And so key important. Don't call the guy only if you have a problem. Yeah? All you can call him is, how are you, and when are you coming over, and let's come to Leuven, have a lunch. We take more lunches and breakfasts than you can handle. Huh? It's unhealthy, but I survived.
Let's say thank you, Mark.
So thank you very much. So if I have a couple of words to address to the students and professors, what can they do to develop the network? You are free to say. The good luck words.
No, once again, it's a pleasure to be here.
Okay.
It's an honor, a pleasure to be here, and thanks to Dennis, who said, Martijn, if we go to Vladivostok, we will make a stop. I said, where are you making a stop? Huh? And he said, Irkut, so I had to go to the map and see where it is. And I really enjoy to be here. And always welcome. Yeah, you travel, and if you are in Leuven, let me know. And study from the Leuven model, I would say. And please, the young guys, work on your network and work on technology and A lot of reading is important. I read a lot, because I know nothing. Every single day, I read the Financial Times from A to Z. Every single day. Every week, I read The Economist, the Washington Post, the Scientific American. So a lot of reading is important also to bring that mind open. Certainly for the young people, the professors will do it, but the young people need information.
We need to go to cafe.
And the cafe, Dennis knows that for me the cafe is the most important spot. So I told that to my sons and they drank a lot. So my wife said, what are you doing with these kids? But they did well.
To do the next lecture. Okay.